Hi everybody, it's Tasso. You can do anything if you just believe in yourself. You will have heard this before, haven't you? If you feel confident and if you feel strong, there's no mountain too high and no river too deep. You feel energized if you feel good about yourself. If you feel good about yourself, you don't compare yourself with others. If you feel good about yourself, you don't envy others because you're sufficient in yourself. So how do you do that? What does it take for you to feel good about yourself? Here's my answer to this. Here's my take on this. Here are 8 ways that I would like to share with you that define how you will feel about yourself and what you will accomplish. 8 ways for you to finally crack that self-esteem. Look for these resources, unlimited resources that are inside of you, and fuel yourself to become unstoppable. Number 1. The number 1 way for you to feel good about yourself is and will always be above everything else if you help others. This is something that is human nature. I mean, we are creatures of service. We are naturally wired by our creator or nature or the universe, whatever you want to call it, but we are wired to feel good and to feel rewarded when we help others. A recent example I will show you. I was walking down the street and I saw this old lady pulling the stroller behind her. She came from shopping. You know these little strollers that you fill up with your shopping and then you go in. She was trying to pull open the door to her house, and she had difficulties to get in with the stroller. So I was coming by and I just hold open the door for her. And she was even surprised that somebody would help her with that. She thanked me. And I felt good about myself for like 30 minutes. Something as simple and small as this can make you feel good about yourself. This is the power of helping others. Even the smallest random acts of kindness can make you feel incredibly good about yourself for a prolonged period of time. So this is the number 1. It is huge because this is something that we are really wired to do as creatures of service. Now, if you want to help others, however, you need to also fuel yourself. You need to know your values, because otherwise you will drain yourself. People will abuse you and will take advantage of you. You need to dissociate yourself from other people's opinions and validation, and you need to look internal in order for you to fuel yourself and to become strong in order to be able to be of service to others. So how do you do that? That leads me to point number 2. Point number 2 is know yourself. And as Scott Dinsmore, the founder of Live Your Legend, very nicely put it, become a self-expert. What does it mean? It doesn't mean that you say, I know myself, I know I like steak, I like broccoli, or I like sunsets or walking in the park. You gotta dig a little bit deeper for that. Knowing yourself and becoming a self-expert is about understanding what drives you, understanding what your values are and what your beliefs are, understanding really what you are good at, understanding what you enjoy doing. You can ask your parents for that, or your friends, you can ask your family, you can ask your peers, or ultimately even start looking yourself into this by observing what pops up again and again in your life. See the patterns and actually identify the things that make you you. But don't be fooled, because knowing you is one thing, being you is another one. That's what leads me to the second point. Once you know you, you gotta dare to be you. Dare to be you, dare to be different, and dare to do things differently. Very often we find ourselves trying to fit in. It's a natural human behavior that you want to be part of a community, you want to belong somewhere. This is incredibly hardwired within us. But if we do something that goes against our nature, it will not be something that we can sustain for a long period of time. If you are a funny person and you try to be serious at work, it's going to show. You're not going to be able to hold it for a long time. If you are an introvert and you try to go out with people, to meet people, you're not going to feel comfortable. So I'm not saying that you have to do things differently just for the sake of doing things differently, but do things that are truly to your nature. You know, if everybody has an iPhone and you don't like it, have an Android. If everybody goes to the gym, you run. Do things that are closer to your nature. Do things differently. If you separate yourself from the mass and from the mediocrity, it will make you feel immensely good about yourself. Point number 3. No, that was point number 3. Point number 4, figure things out for yourself. What do I mean by that? It is very easy for you to delegate things or to make other people do things. It can be from repairing a car, filing your tax returns, building your website, but if you actually put an effort in figuring out things yourself, it will create a certain confidence loop. You will be more and more competent in doing things, and you will feel an increased self-confidence. Self-esteem also comes from doing things. It doesn't come from knowing things. And in particular, it comes from doing the right things. So figuring things out for yourself and doing things will boost your self-confidence and will make you feel increasingly better about yourself. Point number 5. Point number 5 is about having an opinion. This is very, very important. Nowadays, we have the tendency to go and find consensus, to be in between things, to say things like it depends. But at some point of time, you gotta put your foot on the ground, you gotta anchor yourself, you gotta define your standards. Are you pro-abortion or against abortion? Are you pro-gay marriage or against gay marriage? You need to define the framework of your life, and you need to define the things that make you you. You see this, for instance, I'm sure you've seen the impact of this anchoring and of this having an opinion in your work environment. When you have people who move forward and do what they believe is right, and you sometimes hate them for this, but you can't get away from respecting them for that. It gives you respect. People are naturally drawn to other people who have an opinion and are anchored in what they believe. And so I'm not saying that you should have an opinion to be respected by others, but having an opinion will make you respect yourself. That was point number 5. Point number 6 is about doing the impossible. I've mentioned this in other blog posts very, very often, and it helped me a lot in my past. If you push yourself out of your comfort zone, if you do something that you originally don't believe you can do, will not only give you the self-confidence because you did something you didn't think you can do, but it will also show you that if you would fail at something that stretches you and is actually a little bit outside of your capabilities, that the consequences are not as bad as you thought it were. Very often we fear failure because we anticipate what it could look like, but we don't really know, and we don't start doing things because we are afraid what might happen. Now, if you stretch yourself often enough, if you put yourself out there often enough, and if you succeed and fail, you will feel different about yourself. You will be able to change your mindset about these. Point number 7 is eliminate worry. Now, maybe eliminate worry is a little bit too harsh, and I know that it's easier said than done. But look at worry from the perspective of what it does to you. If you worry, you send a signal constantly to yourself that you are not mastering something. You're not in control. You don't handle or manage things. Worrying about something means you haven't tackled it. It's the only thing that it means. And so if you constantly worry about things, this will constantly feed into your subconscious that you're not doing something. You're not ready. You have to tackle something. There's something undone, unready. So how do you do that? Of course, one thing is, as I said before, if you do the impossible a couple of times and you succeed and fail, this will give you the confidence to say that you can figure things out. You need to find some ways to believe that you will figure this out. You need to believe in your ability to figure things out. You need to master your mind in this regard. And once you do this, you will feel your worries less and less and less. And finally, very, very important point in order for you to feel good about yourself is you got to be consistent. You got to stick to your choices. How can you possibly feel good about yourself if you constantly break the contract with yourself? How can you feel good about yourself if you say that you're going to go to the gym and you don't do it? If you say you're going to quit smoking and you don't do it? If you say you're going to eat healthy and you don't do it? It's similar to the worry that constantly feeds you with, something's not tackled yet. Not being consistent is again similarly fueling subconsciously that you are not trustworthy. You don't trust yourself. So this is why it will hinder you to feel good about yourself. Tackle this, have a look at this, be more consistent, stick to the choices. So these were the 8 things that I feel are a major source for you to feel good about yourself. Number one was helping others. Helping others is the best way you can feel good about yourself, is giving what you have, sharing your experience, your knowledge, your capabilities to help others who are not in that position will fuel you immensely. Number two was about knowing yourself. You need to know what drives you, fuels you, what you're good at, what you love doing. This will also make you independent from other people's judgment and other people's validation, because you will know the real you. Number three was about doing things differently. Dare to do things differently. Step out of the mass and stay true to what you are, to your nature. Number four was figuring things out. Try and figure things out for yourself. Build the competencies. The competence will create a confidence, and that will make you feel good about yourself. Then it was about having an opinion. Having an opinion, anchoring yourself, setting your standards and living by that. Number six was about doing the impossible. Stretch yourself. Prove to yourself that you actually can do more than you think, and prove to yourself that if you fail, it's actually not as bad as you thought it was. Then reduce your worries. Get into a mindset that you have the ability to figure things out. Stop worrying and start doing. And finally, consistent. You got to be consistent. You got to stick to what you promise to yourself. If you stick to what you promise to yourself, I believe is one of the major ways you can boost your self-esteem, and you can actually increase the way you feel good about yourself. So these were the 8 ways. I hope that they made sense. I hope they were some things you might have known before, some things that are new to you. I hope you might actually be inspired to try something new. Please, if you liked it, subscribe for more. If you liked and did something, please reply to me and let me know if this worked for you. I really would love to see this work for you. It worked for me. I tried many of these things and they worked out for me. In fact, all of these things. And if you try something and it works out, please feel free to let me know. Also share this if you feel somebody needs to know this. If you know somebody who is not very comfortable about themselves, share this. Maybe this will help them find ways to actually manage themselves. So, thank you very much for watching this video. I wish you a wonderful day until the next blog post. All the best.